It's Wednesday, the 5th of October. We're on the module DD211, Understanding Politics, Ideas and Institutions in the Modern World. I want to influence youth for today, young adults, mature adults, teenagers. I want to broaden their horizon, maybe go university. I study at Open University because it's distance learning. I'm not influenced by other students going AWOL in a town. Anyway, Understanding Politics, Ideas and Institutions in the Modern World. Edited by Geoff Andrews, Agnes Sajaki, Andy O'Kane, Ray Prock Hovenick, and Dan Taylor. Acid Books, edited by. It's published at the Open University, Walton Hall, Milton Keynes. First published 2015, second edition 2022. Copyright 2015 to 2022, the Open University. Make sure you reference your reading, record your reading. It's a good idea. It's up to you. It's optional. You don't have to, but I like to record my reading, listen to it back while I'm doing artwork, or even if I'm doing something cleaning, something therapeutic. I listen back to my readings so it sinks in. I'll get a highlighted pen because when you get assignment, which assignment is what is politics. So if I see anything that needs highlighting in the book, I shall highlight it. The purpose of studying politics. Political study is intended to generate knowledge, but it can also be used to impact the world in some way, such as by engaging with pundits, politicians, policymakers, and citizens. Knowledge is often an end in itself, and as we have seen, the first purpose of political science and political theory is to understand the world in which we live. It's often suggested, however, that science and theory ought to try and impact the world in some way by explaining what happens to ourselves and others. Political theorists and scientists may shift attention towards a focus on what should be done to change what happens for the better of society. Some theorists, hello Warren, how you doing, buddy? Some theorists and theory, by being taken up by ideologies and ideologists, have impacted in the world in significant and profound ways, as have some political scientists. Many, however, have found it harder to engage with or affect in the wider world. Good morning, good morning. Not all areas of political science can't find relevance with practitioners and the public. There are many resonate only with fellow political scientist professionals who specialise in their subject or field. How you doing, buddy? You right, mate? This helps explains why political science can fail to seek out a wide popular audience, largely because it makes use of specialist theories and methods. Political science, if it becomes far too professional and scientific, can become weaker in terms of its public and social relevance. This is especially so if one needs to be a professional specialist to engage with, understand, and use the work of other professional specialists. Producing knowledge often requires the use of technical terms and complex models and methods, but often such terms, models, and methods themselves become the object of political science. Good morning. Good morning. How you doing, guys? This can obscure the actual subject or study itself. The political event or process can make political scientists and their findings remote and detached from the world that they study. I'm only at the start of my academic year. I've got the rest of that book to read. I've got another one to go through. My goodness. The joys of study, eh? I just got a little pen to highlight the things I need for my assignments as I go through. This can mean, in the opinion of former Times commentator Peter Riddle, subsequently director of the Institute for the Government, that political science becomes an enclosed and often narcissistic world of academics writing for each other, that it becomes self-referential as well as self-referential and often unreadable to anyone but the specialist. Real politicians seldom feature in these articles. Indeed, the authors seem to feel they would be corrupted by contact with politicians, but politics is not or should not be Are you good? Are you good? Nice to hear. Good to hear. Should be about mathematics or neo-Marxist jargon. Some political scientists do try to bridge the gap with the world of politics, but they are a minority. Political science clearly can fail to connect with audiences beyond academia. Sometimes professional political science offers few incentives to political science to transfer their knowledge beyond the university. For the political scientist Joseph Nye, the danger is that political science is moving in the direction of saying more and more about less and less. To combat these tendencies, Robert Putnam, another political scientist, suggests that political science and theory needs to be relevant to the public by attending to things that the rest of the citizens of the country are concerned about. In response to such criticism, political scientists must strive to be relevant and useful. The field may never be popular, but practitioners should recognise it has something to say about the key problems and issues the world faces today. Of course, unlike the hard sciences, social science rarely follows a smooth and observable pathway from pure research through social benefits, with applied research and dissemination and development providing useful stepping stones. In between flinders, however, even in a confined university, political science ought to strive to make some of their research relevant by trying to make research outputs relate in some way at some time to political and social outcomes. Professional political science and theory play an important role in providing the vocabulary through which political actors discuss political events, ideas, and institutions. They help highlight socially important issues and they help us understand the strengths and weaknesses of different arguments. It might be necessarily specialised in technical, but political science need not be insecure and arcane. It should not only be directed toward a professional scholarly audience, but strive for wider relevance at least some of the time. Obviously, political scientists engage with and teach students, so they should also try to engage with the interest of the public by working to benchmarks that establish measures and means of impact relevance and engagement. Political scientists can reach out beyond a solely academic audience towards extra academic audiences. Flinders 213. They can either explain how government works, discuss how citizens behave, and demonstrate which ideas are not to be important in a particular society. Or they can suggest how government should work, how citizens could act differently, and which ideas might be helpful in rethinking these things. Or they can try to do both, because they study what is. Political scientists can help practitioners and those members of the public who are interested in politics consider what should be. Should political scientists make their work relevant and accessible? Then more political actors might engage with it further, at least some of the time. Conclusion. The formal study of politics sets out to understand political phenomena. At its best, it is enacted as a conversation using both written and spoken words in which everyone can participate and from which everyone can learn, even if there is no overall agreement on explaining something or changing it. Knowledge is a product of collective wisdom. It should be said that not everyone wants to study politics. Not everyone has the same or inclination. The study of politics, whichever form it takes and whatever advantage it has, can never be made compulsory. Citizens should be given every opportunity to engage with political process. Political information should be freely and easily available. And school children ought to be taught politics, but people can never be forced to study politics or to civically engage. The fact that people in this former Soviet Union were expected to study and fully to endorse the works of Marx, Engels, and Lenin as interpreted for them by their rulers illustrates the state enforced scholarship usually takes the form of state indoctrination. Citizens in free democratic societies should be able to study politics and to learn how to evaluate conflicting interpretations of events and ideas. But such citizens should also remain free to be apathetic or disinterested for whatever reasons, and do not involve themselves with politics, obviously for reasons explored earlier, the study of politics in a different practice, for becoming involved or engaging with politics, but people in democratic societies cannot be coerced to either study or engage in politics. This is because the study of politics is a vocation for some. It is a freely chosen profession. It is also a virtue with much social utility. It is a virtuous vocation that should certainly be encouraged, be ought, never be compelled. Block 2, Political Concepts. Chapter 5, Freedom, Andy O'Kane, Raya Prokhovenik and Dan Taylor. I'm only going to read a couple of pages because I don't want to go too mad. Introduction. Freedom is a key to political concept. We probably all want to be free to make our own choices. I'm going to go to the cinema this evening. I've made a decision to go to university. I think I'll go to France on holiday this summer. And we probably all want the government to ensure that our freedom as a society has the largest possible scope, allowing and enabling me to take up opportunities. I wish to follow up making the streets safe for me to walk at night, giving me the chance to participate in elections, while contrasting our freedoms as little as possible, not making university fees prohibitive, not arresting me if I publish an anti-government view on social media. At the same time, living together in society involves negotiating preferences and making choices conjointly, both in our individual lives, with family and neighbours, and in terms of government policy making. When I make choices in my own life, should I think of my own interest, or should I take into account the interests and needs of others? I'd like to spend all my earnings on myself, but my family need my support. And at that level of society as a whole, who or what is the proper person of institution to make choices? The Prime Minister, the current government, the party I voted for, the local council, a religious body. Such suggestions underpin many of the major political contests in every society. There may be some choices that follow everyone to come out better off. Choices that all individuals and groups can agree with, but often a political choice in government policy making can only be hotly contested by those aligned with other political parties. Freedom is an active and volatile political concept that can be engender tumultuous conflict and war, but it also underlies more routine, seemingly political activities such as deciding whether to smoke or what to watch on TV as such. Freedom can be seen as a concept that is fundamental to the individual. Yet, the very fact that an individual choices have impact upon others means that freedom is also a primary concern in a social context and for the political community more widely. There are instances where, like in the COVID-19 pandemic, states intervene by imposing lockdowns that deprive citizens of everyday freedoms for the good protecting public health. Freedom can therefore involve difficult trade-offs in this case. I'll leave that there. That'll do for this morning because I'm on the next chapter. I don't need to be on it. Oh my goodness.